everybody? Welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch, and today we're going to recap UFC 258, which happened this past Saturday on ESPN pay-per-view. Now, we did not get a chance to get a preview video out. However, we did have a conversation on our Facebook page about how we thought this fight was going to go and who we picked to win. So if you haven't liked us on Facebook yet, make sure you do that. Also, hit like and subscribe on this video so you get all of our updates when we do get videos out. And then we'll have a nice whole conversation as we did on Saturday night. So that was great. And to get into that conversation, we picked Kamaru Usman to win by decision against Gilbert Burns after withstanding some early fire from him. We thought that his cardio, his little more advanced striking, working with Trevor Whitman, and his ability to negate jiu-jitsu players' tactics on the ground would lead to him being able to grind out a decision against Gilbert Burns as the fight went on. I thought that he would be able to, get some good exchanges leading into takedowns, some good cage control, and just, as Gilbert faded because he wasn't going to be able to keep up with the pace of Usman. Whereas, when he fought Tyron Woodley, it was, pretty much fought at his pace, and Woodley's not a grinding type of guy. So, that was more of, a few strikes here and there, a couple of exchanges, something that he could really control and be fresh for 5 rounds. I didn't think he'd be able to be fresh for 5 rounds against Usman. So that's the gist of the conversation that we had on Facebook with our with our fans on there. And what we got was a highly entertaining and very good fight where Usman ends up taking the fight by 3rd round TKO. Now, how did we get there? So one of the things that we talked about was Gilbert Burns' quick looping shots being able to catch Kamaru Usman. He did it to Damian Maia. He did it to Tyron Woodley. He's done it to several people. And then when you watch the sparring footage that they did show of them between Usman and Burns, because, we all know the history that they have together, Burns would catch Usman with the looping shots over the top. So right out the gate, he throws that overhand right, catches Kamaru Usman, puts him down, has him in looking like he's in trouble. But what I really was impressed with Burns was his ability to take away from the takedown, because every time Usman ducked his head or tried to get close to him, he'd shoot a knee up. And he caught Usman really good one time with that knee. And then after that, Usman would just go a little bit, but that knee, boom, would still come up. As soon as Usman changed levels, that knee came immediately up. So Burns had a good game plan to negate what Usman could have been doing. However, he had no answer for boxing fundamental number 2, because number 1 is footwork. Number 2 is the jab. And I know we've heard so much about it. We've seen it. But the jab was really being effective as far as round 1. You could see when Kamaru Usman landed that jab that Gilbert Burns was visibly put out of place. This was the type of jab that any fighter or coach would dream of. Like, this is a Lennox Lewis type jab, a Larry Holmes, one of those really shotgun piston-like jabs that just completely sets you off of your setting. It completely makes you reset. And if it's done at the correct time, then you will pretty much get discouraged because you can't get in on your opponent. And a lot of times when Gilbert Burns will try to throw those winging shots, bam, Usman would shoot right down the middle, hit him with that jab. So Burns is whiffing and getting hit with a hard jab. So that began to sap the strength of Burns immediately. You could see the results of it on his face. Then from there, Usman's leg kicks, which are pretty underrated. He throws a very good front kick to the body that he was utilizing well, and also he threw some leg kicks in there. I am a big proponent of using those type of long-range shots on people, especially in MMA, when you can use your legs as well as your hands. It's a highly underutilized skill in that sport. But I think that there are some guys that, like Usman, that are starting to really realize how effective they are. Similar to like the calf kicks, though, that kick to that lead leg is really devastating in mixed martial arts, and I think we're going to start seeing people start to utilize it a bit more. So that first round was, I don't think anybody gave it to Usman, but he started to make a better account of himself as the round went on. So we get into round two, and the jab is starting to really do damage on Burns. And then Kamaru lands a nasty pull counter, another boxing move, and just wrecks Burns' world. And from that point, that was pretty much the where this fight started to snowball. Like, it was already kind of ticking down for Burns, but at this point, it begins to snowball. He never recovers from that right hand that Usman landed. So then Usman begins to switch southpaw, orthodox, landing that right hand from both stances, landing the jab from both stances, and Burns is just in a world of trouble at this point. He begins falling down from one fatigue of missing, fatigue of trying to finish Usman and not being able to do it, being hit with hard, accurate shots. So Burns started fading and fading fast. I didn't think it would start happening until like the third round, but we could see it halfway through the first, where he began to breathe a little bit heavier. His resets were getting a lot longer in between being hit with that jab and Kamaru changing positions. So from that point, Usman's just teeing off on him, and then going into the third round, he pummels him, hits him again with the jab, knocks him down, and that ground and pound was nasty. I mean, Burns' head is bouncing off the canvas. It was a good stoppage by the ref, Herdine, and Usman retains the championship. So, like he said several times, I think it's time for the people that have been hating on him to start putting some respect on his name. I know a lot of people talk about his lack of power thereof, but 2 of his 3 title defenses have ended by TKO via punches. So there's some power there, but a lot of people kind of still liking him to what he did in the Masvidal performance, which is grinding the guy out, beating him up, and to the casual observer, that's not the most fan pleasing type of fight. But from this fight and the Kobe fight, we know he's got it in him. So what happens next for Usman? We're really not sure. I mean, he's beaten everyone in the top 5 except for Wonder Boy. That's the only one he hasn't fought. I would love to see him fight Covington again. That was a really good fight, a really, really good fight. And I would love to see how the tactics he's learned and beginning to implement with Trevor Whitman will begin to, show even more in these stand-up striking contests he's starting to have with these guys, because a lot of guys are not trying to wrestle with him. But he always still has that. And with Kobe, he's got a guy who has almost as good of a gas tank. Previously, I thought that Kobe's was better, and Kamaru proved me wrong in that fight. And from that fight on, I was like, I'm picking him until someone gives me a reason not to, which is they beat him in the cage. he just shows ways to win. So Wonder Boy will be an outstanding matchup because that is someone whose base is striking, whereas he's been fighting guys whose base is the ground and grappling and outstriking them. And then when he fought Masvidal, he out-wrestled him, which, you know, because Masvidal had that striking base. So Wonder Boy to me is the one that I would like to see the most because he hasn't fought him. But I think as far as contenders and rankings go, on top of him calling out Masvidal would be Covington, Masvidal, and Thompson. Those are the 3 fights I think that we see from Usman next. And all 3 of them present different challenges and different amounts of intrigue that will, you know, provide for an entertaining fight. So what do you guys think? What did you think of the fight? If you were a hater, tell me why, and then tell me if, you know, you are now at least recognizing the skill. Because a lot of people were like that with Colby Covington too because of the act that he portrays. And they're like, you know, I hate all of that. But you got to respect that he's a good fighter. And I'm hoping that people are at least doing that with Usman because this guy's a damn good fighter. He, you know, record books aside, just what he does in the cage is highly effective and highly dominant. He's doing what he needs to do. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Capital Combat in all platforms. And like I said, leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next video. Till then, fight on.
This is round 1, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.